So here's the thing. One of the most important part of solving a systems problem is getting the equations in the first place. Because when it comes to any real situation you may come across, you're not just going to be told what an equation should be. You're going to have to figure out what that equation should be. Now, there's not a space for this on the front of your toolkit. So anything from this section that you find helpful, I recommend you write on the back of your toolkit in that large open space. So how do we write equations? First, you need to know what it is you're trying to find, define your variables with let statements, and then use those variables to get two different equations written. Let's see how this works. So take a moment here and read through this. Give a pause, unpause when you're ready to move on. So my advice is always, once you've read everything through, take a look at the very last sentence because that's typically where the question is. This tells you what your variables are going to need to be. Question is, how many servings of each brand of yogurt did she eat? So how many servings of brand A? How many servings of brand B? That's what we don't know. And right there, those two things, those are what your variables need to be. Here now come your let statements. Starts with the word let, and then you pick a letter. So how about in this case for brand A? Let's use A. So let A equal the number of servings of brand A yogurt. It's as simple as this. Now when anybody looks at our work and sees the letter A, they know that that means, hey, that's the number of servings of this brand A yogurt. Next, let's define a second variable. How about B for these servings of brand B yogurt? Once again, we're choosing these as our variables by looking at this last question. How many servings were there? That's what we don't know. That's what the variables need to be. Okay, then. The next part, it's a little tricky until you get some practice. We've got to take a look at what information we have. So I'm given information about protein and sugar, and then I've got totals of protein and sugar. There's the key. We're going to be writing a protein equation and a sugar equation. Now, I always like to think about it in words first. So the total protein is the sum of the protein from brand A and the protein from brand B. So here we go. The protein, I'm going to abbreviate that as pro, from brand A plus the protein from brand B is equal to the total protein. I hope that makes some sense, right? Because you've got protein coming from two places. So the A protein plus the B protein together gives you the total protein. Here's the trick, though. I don't know exactly how much came from A, and I don't know exactly how much came from B, because I don't know how much of A and how much of B we ate. So instead, let's do it this way. The total amount of protein from brand A, well, if I ate one serving, so I'll get brand A, it's going to be 9 grams. 2 servings is 18 grams. 3 servings would be 27 grams. It's just 9 times the number of servings I have. So it's going to be 9 grams of protein per serving times the number of servings. That's just 9A. For brand B, brand B has 17 grams of protein. So 1 serving would be 17. 2 servings would be 34. 3 servings would be 51 grams. So we're again multiplying the servings times that 17. Add those up, and I know altogether that Ruth ate 87 grams of protein. So altogether, the total is 87. And there you go. That's the first of our two equations. I'd like you here to try and do your best to write now a second equation for the sugar. You can do a pause if you like. I'm going to get my sugar equation set up here. Again, going to think through the process. So I start with sugar from brand A, that's the total, and the sugar from brand B. Add those together, that's going to be my total sugar. So as I'm looking, brand A has 39 per serving. So 39 grams times the number of servings plus brand B as 6 grams per serving. So 6 times the number of servings. And then the total altogether was 174. And there are my two equations. And for today, that's all I want you to do. Write the equations. You don't need to do anything beyond that. So let's recap what we just did. First, you've got to know what it is you care about. And so I'm just going to get that in line there. For us, I highlighted this last sentence. How many servings of each brand? That's what your variables need to be. The question will tell you what your variables need to be. I don't know how many servings of A, call it A. I don't know how many servings of B, call it B. Take a look at what information you have. We had information about protein, so we made a protein equation. 9 times A, so 9 grams of protein times the number of servings from brand A. 17 grams of protein times the number of servings for B is the total of that 87 grams that Ruth ate over the week. Do the same thing for sugar. 39A plus 6B gives the total grams of sugar over the week. And there you go. Protein equation, sugar equation, you are good to go.